open in the year. Thanks, Jess, to really give you the best chance of success. So before we get going, just some quick housekeeping bits and bobs. It would be great if you could have your camera on, if that's feasible for you, and your mic on mute whilst I'm presenting. And as I mentioned, if you're able to change your Zoom name to your full name and the name of your innovation, if you have a name for your innovation, that would be super, super helpful, just to make sure you definitely get all the follow-up bits that will come post the webinar. I will hold some time at the end for Q&A, but you can also use the chat as I'm presenting if any questions come up on the particular sections, and we'll try and address them then, or pick them up at the end. So before we get going, who have we got here from the FEA? So delighted to meet you. I'm Tish. I'm the head of the Innovation Award. I joined the Fair Education Alliance in about 2019, having previously been an education policy lead at Save the Children, and prior to that, a secondary school English teacher. So always in education, but across kind of teaching, policy, innovation. And this role really brings together what I love about all my previous roles: the hard questions of policy, how do you make education fair, with all the wonderful things that teaching brings around curriculum design and working with individuals like yourself that are designing, delivering, and trying to improve outcomes for children and young people. I'm so delighted to have with us also Jess from our team. So Jess, if I can invite you to come off mute and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, good morning. I'm Jess. I am the new comms and events manager for the awards here at the FEA. It's my second week in post, so I'm very excited to meet you all. I come to the role with experience of setting up my own charity, which aims to fund a language and cultural exchange program for under-resourced schools in Colombia. And I also run a language school based here in Brixton. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess. We're so delighted to have Jess as a real entrepreneur, helping us think about our comms and events. So that's fab. And then it is my great pleasure to introduce Olivia, who is one of our current 2023 winners. You'll hear from me quite a lot today, kind of giving you that overview stuff, but I think it's always just so much more meaningful to hear about what the support is like, what selection was like from someone who's actually been through it, going through it. So we're super grateful that Olivia can be here. And Olivia, if I can invite you to come off mute just to share a bit about yourself and the Story Project.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's lovely to meet you all and to be here today. I feel very privileged to be an Innovation Award winner. So my background is also as a teacher who's very passionate about the power of stories to support children's well-being and literacy. So I am now running a community interest company called The Story Project, which provides training and resources for teachers so they can use stories as a tool to improve children's well-being and literacy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Olivia. And something that I think is really cool to shout out about, 90% of teachers that engage with the Story Project say that it is fabulous in every way and really impacts both that wellbeing and literacy piece. So Olivia's already having great impact, and we're so delighted to be able to support her as she's thinking about scaling and getting to areas of greatest need in the next year. Fab. So what will today cover? So I'm conscious we've got lots of people here that might not know a lot about the FEA, the Fair Education Alliance. So we'll kick off with a bit of an overview from me on the Fair Education Alliance, and then specifically on the Innovation Award and how the Innovation Award really fits into the Alliance's vision and what we're trying to do. Within that, we'll talk about the support you win should you be successful. And I'll invite Olivia then to come back in and she'll share a bit more on her experience of the support so far to bring that to life for you a little bit. I'll then chat to you through eligibility and some of the key things that we're looking for before giving you an overview of what the selection process is likely to look like, and some top tips from Olivia on applying. And then I'll finally wrap up with some application support on offer and what you should sign up to now. As I mentioned, we're doing this a bit earlier because we really want to give you as much time as possible to develop your idea, get the support that we have on offer before any forms and things even open for input. So that's what today looks like. But before we do any of that, we're going to do something that is very much at the heart of the Fair Education Alliance and very much at the heart of the Innovation Award, which is all about a bit of connection and collaboration and get you talking to each other for a bit of speed networking for 5 minutes. So we're going to break out for 5 minutes, and I'd love for you to share a short intro, so your name, your role, and then what brings you here today. And I think there could be a real variety. We'll have some entrepreneurs here today who have got something going, maybe a small pilot, and they're keen to think about how the award might help them kind of really refine theory of change and get to that next step. There might be people here that have kind of a percolating idea, but don't really have much beyond that, or those that haven't really identified the issue that they're particularly passionate about working on, but are keen to know more and get some of that support to help them develop their idea. So real range of who could be here today. So it would be fab for you to get a bit of that flavour. So Jess, if I could ask you to break us out into pairs for about 5 minutes. Thank you. Oh, I think just 2 more people to pull. Should we pause the recording, Jess, and then I can check? Awesome. Great, welcome back. See people dropping back in. Fab. I hope you had a good chat in your breakouts and you got a bit of a flavour of who is here today and maybe made some interesting new connections. So we're going to kick off properly with that first piece, which is a quick overview of the FEA, the Fair Education Alliance. So you understand how this innovation work sits within our broader mission and vision. So we are a coalition of over 250 cross-sector organisations that all are working collectively to tackle educational inequality so that we can achieve our vision, which is an education system that is fair, where no child's educational success is limited by their socio-economic background. And our network of diverse members work together to achieve those 5 fair education impact goals, which you can see in green or teal at the top of the screen. And they really cover that inequality from cradle to career. And our members have collectively agreed on 4 priority areas that they believe are critical to achieve an inclusive education system needed to get to those 5 goals. And these 4 priority areas that the members agreed as key areas of focus are developing the whole child, engaging parents and communities of all backgrounds, supporting teachers and leaders in areas they're needed most, and that joins up the supports for all post-16 opportunities. And through enabling our community and members to collaborate, we help to develop a unified collective message to advocate for the vision, take action through driving collective action and influencing policy, and critically for why you're here, to scale impactful innovations and initiatives. And our Fair Education Awards are a key way that we scale impactful initiatives in the ecosystem. We know that the education system needs innovative solutions that tackle the root causes of inequality now more than ever before. I'm sure I don't need to say this to you, and you know it in your work, but we are still witnessing the persistent impact of learning losses from the pandemic. The socio-economic disadvantage gap continues to grow. And meanwhile, the cost of living crisis is pushing record numbers of students into poverty, and inflation means school budgets are super stretched and they actually remain below what they were in 2010. And all of this is exacerbating the disparities in learning and laying bare the entrenched issues in the system that really allow this inequality to persist. However, we've also seen through our brilliant membership and beyond the phenomenal collective action in the face of adversity. we've seen schools, colleges, charities, businesses mobilizing its resources and working together in a way not seen before to support disadvantaged young people. And so we really feel there is this huge appetite for change and innovation, and that's where our Fair Education Awards come in. So we run 2 awards. The Innovation Award, which nurtures bold ideas to tackle entrenched issues, which is why you're here today, and we'll go into that in a bit of a deep dive shortly. But I also wanted to signpost our Scaling Award, which supports impactful initiatives to maximise their impact and scale to areas of greatest need. That award is only open to FEA members, but why I thought it was pertinent and interesting to share with this group is it is one of the ways that our award is really unique, in that you're able to leverage, that vast wealth of skills and expertise and knowledge that the membership of over 250 organisations bring, but you are also joining a family and a legacy of award winners across innovation and scale, and that cross-cohort support is also really, really critical, and we think really special about the Innovation Award. Our awards are specifically focused on tackling socioeconomic disadvantage and closing the gap between pupils from low socioeconomic backgrounds and their peers, and we're really keen to hear from applicants with a similar mission. And we are super proud that over the past 9 years, we've incubated and we've supported over 900 individuals to develop and pilot their ideas, and have incubated 43 impactful innovations. And you might recognise some of the ones, some of the logos on there. Many of them are Fair Education Alliance members now. Many of them started out as Innovation Award winners back in the day and are now Scaling Award winners, having really proved impact and are growing to reach areas of greatest need. So that's a bit of an overview of the FEA. We'll now take a bit more of a deep dive onto the Innovation Award, which is why you're all here. So as I mentioned, the Innovation Award is all about finding new solutions to transform the education system. This award supports up to 6 individuals, and it is open to 2 types of innovators. So firstly, any member of the public who wants funding and training to establish a new initiative, to develop it, test it, and scale it. And secondly, it is open to FEA member organisations who want to launch a new initiative within their organisation. So these are orgs that have proven impact, who have core business, have a core model already, but want to set up something that isn't their business as usual internally. If there's anyone on here that is actually maybe more in that category, they're quite an established organisation already, and they are interested in the award because they want to set up a new programme or a new partnership, and it's more an internal innovation. As I mentioned, that's for FEA members, but you can apply for membership before the award application deadline. So I'd really urge you to have a look on our website, where we've got a bit more information about our membership criteria and process, and Jess will kindly pop where you can find that in the chat. But then also at the end, when I share kind of next steps and I share my Calendly to book in, urge you to book in for a one-to-one with me, so I can just make sure you're really clear on those processes for membership application before the award deadline. So what do our Innovation Award winners win and receive? So each innovator receives a year-long programme of support, which includes a place on our innovation incubator, a structured curriculum helping you develop, test, sustain and scale your innovation that captures about 120 hours of learning and development. You also receive a 6-month salary contribution of 22.5k to enable you to go full-time for 6 months on your innovation. We see that the innovator is the biggest asset, and we want to give them that headspace and time for 6 months to really drive forward the work that they're doing. You'll also be able to access professional advice on topics such as legal, finance, sales, HR, etc. You get you get lots of one-to-one strategic support, and that comes in kind of 2 forms. Fortnightly with me, and my role is to provide direct guidance where I can, but also to broker in support that you need that's more bespoke and niche to your initiative from the wider alliance and beyond. You'll also be matched with a mentor from Bloomberg. Bloomberg is our wonderful funder, and they run a brilliant mentoring program where our award winners are matched with a senior leader in Bloomberg, and their role again is very similar to mine. They meet with you on a monthly basis for 6 months, and they focus on direct guidance where they have the skills and expertise, but also to broker and support for you and your organisation from Bloomberg's brilliant wider network. You also get obviously endorsement from the FEA and access to that network of entrepreneur mentors and peers that I mentioned through joining that kind of family and history of both innovation and scaling winners. And through the kind of intensive work we do with you over that year, we're really working with you to generate insights about the problem that you want to solve, create and test a new program, product or service, and really develop the leadership competencies and tools to help you scale the innovation. In terms of what the support looks like in kind of time commitment, we see it in two halves, a part-time commitment and then a full-time commitment when the grant kicks in. So innovators need to be able to go part-time to work on their idea from September to December 2024, which is about, we say roughly about 10 hours a week, alongside coming to the monthly incubator sessions. And then full-time from January 25 to August 25, that's when our grant kicks in January 25. And we do expect that award winners attend all incubator sessions and one-to-ones. It's an intensive program, but we feel that if you don't attend, you're not getting obviously the most out of it that you could be. Flexible where we can be, but we're keen to ensure when you sign up to the award that you're really clear on the commitments, the time commitments, to ensure you're getting the most out of the support. So that's sort of the logistics and a bit of an overview of what you get and what it looks like in terms of timeline. But I think to be able to bring it to life and give you a bit more of a flavour of what the support is like, I'd love to invite Olivia now to share a bit more about her experience so far. So Olivia, if I can invite you to come off mute and share a few minutes on how you're finding the support.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I've just had an absolutely fantastic experience so far with the Innovation Award. And I think all the different things that Tisha has mentioned have been really impactful. So firstly, I think just as someone who's setting up a new initiative, I've been currently for a long time the only person working on the Story project. So having the support of the kind of wider other award winners and having that kind of group has been really impactful for me. It's like a really safe space to kind of learn and test things out, and the other award winners are also they've really inspired me. Like for example, one of the other award winners is Felicity, who's kind of one of LinkedIn's top voices. She's really good at promoting her work, and that's something that I'm really trying to work on. So having that kind of opportunity to work with other people and share our different areas of kind of expertise has been really helpful. And then of course the other aspect is having that one-to-one support. So meeting with Tisha, I'm sure you can already gather if you've not met her already, she's just so positive and so supportive that she's really helped me bring forward my idea. She really challenges me as well in those kind of regular meetings, and I think it really kind of keeps me to account and really sort of it's helping me to move forward quicker than if I was just doing it by myself. And then the wider FEA team as well have also been really supportive. We've had a lot of in the incubator really impactful sessions which are helping me to kind of develop the work that I'm doing. So starting off at the beginning, like really interrogating the problem that we're trying to solve and working on our theories of change so that we've got a really like strong foundation for the work that we're trying to do, which has enabled me to sort of kind of develop the program a lot quicker. But then also kind of those technical things that with my background, maybe as a teacher, things like such as finance or branding, they're not things that I've ever had training on before. So the kind of experts that the Fair Education Alliance has brought in just have been really supportive. And then obviously with the funding as well, this is the first time I've had a full-time salary for the Story project. So that's just enabled me to kind of move forward really confidently. I think that's a summary really.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Olivia. So lovely to hear your experience. And just to shout out, I learned so much from Olivia in every one-to-one we have. She is like the expert on well-being, and she's doing such cool work. She's doing her PhD in it. She did a Churchill Fellowship in this work, and yeah, I just love our one-to-one, so I get so much out of them too. And I just wanted to shout out about 2 other things Olivia flagged. So I think, you know, we always do end of year survey, and obviously the grant is a huge part of the support, and it's really important to be able to free up that innovator to go full time. But I think Olivia echoed what we actually see often in our end of year survey, which is the grant is obviously much appreciated, but what is often rated more highly is the peer cohort. So having that support from other award winners, both practically as well as just emotionally, when, you know, you are, as Olivia said, the only person driving something forward, and then that kind of wider curriculum that is helping you along that journey as you are develop, testing and scaling. So it's really lovely to hear that kind of support offer is often kind of more valuable sometimes than the monetary value, which obviously is super important as well. So thank you so much, Olivia. Fab. So I'm going to share a bit more now on eligibility and what we are looking for. Oh, sorry, that was the slide that was going to be up when Olivia was presenting. Eligibility. Cool. So the first thing I wanted to signpost was that focus on addressing socioeconomic disadvantage and closing the gap for pupils from low socioeconomic backgrounds and their peers. And for us, this means that the solution should disproportionately target children and young people experiencing socioeconomic disadvantage. But we do define innovation in a broad sense. So it could be a new program, a new product, a new service, a new target group, a new partnership, a new campaign in some way, and we are interested not just in the attainment gap, but looking at all those broader pieces that we know make up education around skills, well-being, and as well as supporting the key adults around young people, parents, carers, teachers. So that's an important one for us, obviously, given our vision and mission. Secondly, the award is designed to support innovators to develop, test and scale a new idea. You don't need to have done any work on the idea to be eligible for the award, and we really welcome applicants that are still very much at idea stage. But if you are a bit further ahead, like Olivia was a bit further ahead when she applied than just idea stage, and you've done maybe a very small pilot or you've started trialing some bits and bobs, the support would still be really beneficial. But if you have a refined theory of change, impact report, and sort of financial plan already in place, then it might not be the best fit. So what, again, I would encourage you to do when you get the link at the end is to book in for a one-to-one with me to make sure that the kind of stage and scale you're at fits with the support offer, so you're making the most of the support. Our next eligibility criteria is that you are currently lacking the resources to be able to take the idea further. We define this around kind of turnover and income and salary. So roughly from about January 23, you wouldn't have generated more than 45k of turnover for the innovation, or you haven't been able to pay yourself a minimum salary of at least about 21.5k or 18.5k if you're non-London based. But again, if there are kind of questions around that are very specific to your innovation, that's exactly the kind of thing we can pick up in a one-to-one to think about whether that fits with our criteria. Then the next thing we're looking for is commitment. I mentioned that this is, I hope when you heard a bit about the support, it sounded super fun and engaging, but it's also intense. There is a lot of commitments around joining incubator sessions and one-to-ones and taking up mentoring. We're about to kick off action learning as a group, and we want to make sure that you have the capacity and interest and appetite to capitalize on all of that, and you're able to kind of commit to the dates. We want you to be able to make the most out of what is a busy year, and if you are missing big chunks of it, it obviously becomes not meaningful for you and not an enjoyable experience. So that's why we really kind of test for commitment when we're looking at eligibility. And then finally, on the legal side of things, you do not need to be legally incorporated to apply for the award. We offer winners advice on legal structure as part of the package of support. So that's kind of the key eligibility bits and pieces. And then more critically, what are we looking for? So in terms of the idea, So obviously that fit with the Fair Education Alliance vision. So instead of solutions that make an unfair system a little less unfair, we're really interested in kind of bold new ideas and approaches that have the potential to significantly contribute to ending education inequality in England. We also are really interested in that ambition to reach areas of greatest need. Children from low-income backgrounds are falling behind in all stages of their education, but we know that that gap is even greater for children and young people outside of London. And we're really interested in individuals that are looking at those areas. We are exploring, we have a brilliant digital tool that one of our team members is leading, and it enables our members to look at those areas of greatest need, identify schools, identify our members, and we're looking at how we might be able to open some of that access up to award winners. Sorry, well, it's all open to award winners, to award applicants, should they want to utilise that during this process of defining and developing their idea. And then in terms of the individual, so as much as this is a kind of curriculum to support, develop, testing, scaling, sustaining your initiative, it's also a leadership program, and we are looking for individuals that we think have that potential. And so that first bit that we're really interested in is the leadership potential. We're looking for individuals with the relevant experience, skills, mindsets to develop and implement a new initiative in the short and medium term. You don't need to possess all of the capabilities needed to do that at the point of application, but we are keen to see that you have the appetite and interest to take that leading role, and that in the selection process you're able to articulate some of the gaps in your leadership experience or skills, and what you want to develop to be able to drive forward the initiative. But we also really see our award winners as not just leaders of what they're doing, but faces for change for the sector. They've been selected because we really believe in them as individuals and how they can drive change for the sector. So that's leadership potential. Then another key one for us is diverse leadership. We recognise that creating systemic change is not just about the interventions that are addressing issues, but critically, we need diverse leaders to address these issues. We know inequality is more acute in certain parts of the country, the gaps are widening, and so we really welcome applicants from diverse backgrounds, those that maybe have personal insight or lived experience of the issues they wish to address. And do let us know, in a one-to-one, if there's anything around the application process or selection process that we can do to make it more inclusive and accessible for you. We kind of review it on a constant basis to make sure that it really is that inclusive and accessible process, so we are supporting diverse leaders. Next, willingness to learn. We know there's, recent times have been incredibly uncertain, incredibly unpredictable, and innovation in and of itself is very uncertain and unpredictable. And our approach with it is very much an iterate and learn approach. Build something, test something, get your learnings, adapt, improve, and we're really looking for individuals that embrace that and have a similar kind of approach and willingness to learn, and that are really excited about being able to leverage the expertise of the 250 wide membership, and want to take up opportunities to connect and build their learning. And then finally, it's really important that innovators who go on to win are ambassadors of the Fair Education Alliance, and embody and uphold our values. I'll pop that in the follow-up email, what our values are, but they're very, very much captured in the idea and the individual. And one in particular that I'll shout out about is a value of fun and joy. We do try and make the incubator and the experiences as a cohort as fun as possible, as it is, as I mentioned, an intense year and you're doing hard work trying to drive forward an innovation. We try and live that a bit in the way we deliver the curriculum as well. So that is a bit around eligibility and who we're looking for, but how do we get there? How do we select? So overview of selection. So to select our winners, we undertake a really rigorous selection process, and our judges bring together expertise and sector leadership in education, impact measurement, programme design, and youth voice across 2 panels. So you submit a written application. If you're then eligible and successful, you'll progress to the shortlisting panel and then the final panel. And I've just popped some images on there of some of our fab judges from previous years to show you that kind of breadth of expertise that we have, but also that kind of high level expertise that we have. So we've got Evelyn Ford there, me, who is a brilliant head of Copthall School, now moved on, got John Roberts from Oak National Academy on product design, Dame Rachel D'Souza, the Children's Commissioner, and then we always have on our final panel 2 representatives from our youth steering group to ensure youth voice is really represented in that final stage of selecting the winners, and that's Elijah there. He was joined by Olia this year as well to help select the wonderful cohort that Olivia is part of. And our selection process, while being rigorous and, you know, drawing on the expertise of these fab people, is also designed to be supportive, and we do try and provide feedback along the way. And actually many unsuccessful applicants in previous years have gone away, used that feedback and come back and been successful and won. I think Olivia actually did apply a while ago, took on the feedback, and then came back this year and was, you know, one of our strongest applicants. So that was really wonderful to see, because we do want the process to be impactful for you regardless of the outcome. Obviously amazing if you win, but if not, hopefully you're sent off with some really clear, actionable feedback on what you can do to improve the initiative going forward. In terms of the timeline, now these dates are somewhat subject to change, but this gives you a good rough overview. So we're here at the moment in that kind of pre-award opening announcement stage, doing some of these webinars. I'll chat about the booster in a second. And as I mentioned, one-to-ones with me, and we're doing that earlier than we usually do intentionally this year to really give applicants an opportunity to utilise the support to develop their idea before the application form even opens. Then in Feb, we will launch the award in 2024. So there'll be lots of comms, so look out for that. And then really excitingly, from then onwards, there is a lot of application support until the award closes at the end of May. So the bits I want to particularly shout out about in terms of application support, the first is the Innovation and Scale Booster that is currently scheduled for the 16th of March. This is a fab day. It's an in-person day. And is all about empowering early stage innovators and FEA members to really develop innovations and put in high quality applications if they're applying for the Innovation Award, but also to build capacity and support them to scale to areas of greatest need. And it's run by a number of experts from the Fair Education Alliance and beyond, who will run bespoke workshops on those themes, as well as provide expert one-to-one clinics. So it's a really fab day in terms of the kind of knowledge, skills, connections, but it's also like super fun and a great way to just meet the community and kind of get a flavour of the Alliance. So I would urge you to save that date, and in December, we will be sending out invites and starting the sign-up process, so in a couple of weeks. Alongside that, from Feb to May, there will be time for one-to-one clinics with me and other members of the team. Those can take kind of 2 forms. You might just have questions around eligibility and the award in the first instance. So again, booking with me, and then obviously Jess is only in her second week, but as she's here a bit longer, Jess will be able to field some of those questions around award parameters, eligibility, etc. And as we kind of get closer to the application deadline, my one-to-ones will be really focused on the application and the idea to help you really refine it. We don't provide written feedback, but we do provide kind of verbal feedback and questions. So great, you know, for you to book in for those and get that support. And then, as I mentioned, deadline to apply will be end of May. The selection process then happens over the summer. So in July, the shortlisting panels, August, the final panel, and letting winners know by the end of that month. And then we kick off with announcing the winners at a brilliant event at Bloomberg, an in-person event hosted at Bloomberg. It brings together about, I think, over 200 people came this time from the sector, and I think some of the Connections Award winners made at that event were brilliant and are still reaping benefits in terms of taking their ideas forward. So it's a really fun evening, and then straight after that we go straight into the incubator and support, kicking off in September 24 leading to August 25. So again, from me, that's the kind of logistical stuff around what selection looks like and the key dates. But I would love now again to invite Olivia to share sort of 5 minutes on her experience of the selection process and her top tips on being a successful applicant. So back to you, Olivia.
Thanks, Tisha. I guess the first thing I would talk about is with the application. It is really well laid out in terms of what information that the FEA want from applicants. So it's really made clear that there's kind of 6 criteria, and this is followed through the whole process, but kind of starting with the problem that you're actually trying to solve. And I think Tisha mentioned earlier that for me, I'm looking into children's well-being and children's literacy. Obviously, this is something that I knew very well from my career, but I had also done a lot of research into it. So the Churchill Fellowship that Tisha mentioned is an opportunity I had to actually visit programs happening in America and Canada that were supporting children's well-being and through reading and writing activities. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that you're going to be able to do that before the application, but I think it just really helped that having done that research and knowing what was out there and like what other programs exist, things that you're kind of inspired by, but also being really clear how your idea is different. So that was something that I think really helped. As Tisha mentioned as well, I had previously applied for the Innovation Award, and I think from that experience I got really helpful feedback, which obviously helped me to be successful this time. But I think one of the things that I'd done with the previous application was potentially, or even like in the interviews, potentially trying to with trying to make my idea stand out, maybe trying to be a bit like gimmicky in the way I talked about it, or just trying to talk about it in like an impressive way. Like, for example, I think I had a image of like a jigsaw and how the story project fits all to the different parts of the jigsaw together. And actually, on the feedback, I think it was just be really clear with what you're doing. So you don't have to kind of do it explain it in a special way. Just, you don't have much time, you don't have many words in the application, so you just really need to, you know, get to the point. What are the important things that you want to get across? So that was something that really helped me, just making sure I'd really tackled those 6 areas of the application and kind of had answered them to the best of my ability, which meant I kind of took out that jigsaw metaphor and just made it really clear. I think Tisha also mentioned the different events that you can attend. I attended the summit. I've attended it a few times actually, and have always found it really, really helpful in terms of the kind of people that you meet there, the conversations that you have, really helping me to either understand the problem better, because I spoke to people like head teachers and tried to get an understanding from them about, you know, what the problem that they were seeing was. But also speaking to other, you know, previous award winners, people doing like expert sessions or one-to-ones, who just really gave me a lot of ideas on how to answer the application questions and to speak confidently in the interviews, but also just really inspiring as well, and made me feel really excited about it and already part of the FEA community. I think Tisha also mentioned that you can have like a one-to-one with her, and I took up any kind of opportunity like that. I really felt like the Fair Education wanted me to do well in the interview and in the application. They really wanted me to move forward and to submit, and were really encouraging. But also, you know, they were able to answer my questions and kind of, you know, help me to make a stronger application. I think I kind of maybe felt when I was going into those conversations, oh, I just really want to impress and I'm almost in the interview already. But actually it wasn't the case. It's different people who are doing the interview. Those conversations were a really important opportunity for me to actually make sure I was asking questions about the application and how I could make it stronger, and kind of and things like that, really. Yeah, I think those were the main sort of tips I had, Tish.
Awesome, Olivia. Thank you so much. And I think, yeah, just massively echo that in like utilizing the support on offer. And as Olivia mentioned, you know, we obviously run the selection process. Our co-CEOs will always be on the final panel, but the decision is very much from sector experts. And so that support you get from me and other members of the awards team in the build-up is very much about ensuring that you're a good fit for the award, that it makes sense for the stage and scale you're at, and helping you to try and put forward a really clear, as Olivia mentioned, it is tight on word numbers in the written application. So really pushing for that clarity so we get a good understanding of what the issue is and what you're trying to do. And I think the other thing Olivia said, which was really pertinent and important, as Olivia mentioned, she did have a brilliant understanding of the problem and the issue, given that, you know, incredibly, it's super competitive to get the Churchill Fellowship, so like incredible opportunity that that she won, due testament to her leadership. That, as she mentioned, there's no expectation that you kind of come in with that really refined understanding of the problem and the solution, but a mantra that we have in the award from kind of application onwards is be obsessed with your problem, less so with your solution. And actually we find often that you know, people's solution changes somewhat during the incubation period as they get a better understanding of the issue that they're trying to face. We, through the incubator, obviously provide a lot of support on problem research and connecting you up with schools, etc., if that's helpful during your problem research piece. But at application stage, we do want clarity on your current understanding of the scale of the problem and how it affects particular individuals. And there is a lot of data out there on certain bits and bobs that you can draw on. Other times it's okay to use anecdotal evidence that you have from your experience or your lived experience, but really to bring that problem to life so we really understand what you care about and why you want to tackle it. So huge thanks, Olivia. That was super, super helpful. And I hope gave everyone a bit of a flavour of the selection process and some of the things you can capitalise on. And then finally from me, before we'll open for any questions, if there's any questions anybody wants to raise, is just to kind of reiterating that key point, support on offer and next steps. So you'll get from me a follow-up email later on this afternoon that will have the recording from this and the slides, but it will have my Calendly linked in. So do book in for a one-to-one with me so we can chat about your initiative and your idea in a bit more detail. If there's any, I've had a little bit of shenanigans with my Calendly. If there's any problems, just drop me an email. You will have my email address as well from the calendar invites, etc. And then that key save the date for the Innovation and Scale Booster in person, 16th of March, variety of expert workshops and one-to-one clinics. But we will be sending out more comms and the opportunity to sign up in a couple of weeks in December. So that's it from us for today, to just say a huge thank you. We're so excited that you're interested in the award. This is like one of my favorite parts of my job, is starting cohort selection, because I just get to chat to loads of people that are really passionate about what they do and have a huge amount of expertise, and I get to learn so much about really important initiatives. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I've saved about, I think, 10 minutes. Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes. Should anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? If they're very niche, I might suggest we pick it up in a one-to-one. But if they're kind of about the award more broadly, or if you have a question for Olivia around her experience or support, do just either come off mute or pop your Zoom hand up. So I'll just have a little look, or use the chat. I've just seen one in the chat from Owen. Thanks, Owen. Is there a minimum threshold for proof of concept to attain the award, i.e. pilot? No, we welcome really early stage thinkers, so you can very much be at idea stage. I mean, we have had people before that have run very small pilots, but it's absolutely fine to be completely at idea stage and not have done any work. Cool, thank you. Patricia, raise your hand.
Hi, Tisha. Thank you so much for that presentation. It was really helpful. I'm just keen to understand, obviously you can tell from my accent, I'm from Northern Ireland, but the innovation initiative I want to run would be UK-wide based. And in terms of location and where the initiative would be based, is there a specific eligibility criteria?
Yeah, great question. And I should have flagged that up, Patricia. Yes, England, we want you to be implementing in England. If you're implementing in England and elsewhere in the UK, let's have a one-to-one and chat about the kind of distribution around that. But we would, for the kind of grant terms and the funding requirements for you to be doing some delivery or implementation in England.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. Nick.
Hi, thanks, Tisha. I just wanted to ask about scaling, because is there an understanding that obviously if you want to scale something, you have to start small, and that these things take time. So as part of the application, if you're saying you're just trying to get one thing going, but the ambition is to then have lots, that's okay, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. So very, very much Innovation Award, early stage, looking at, we've had winners before that's very place-based. So one of our current award winners is Stone Soup Cooperative Group, which is being set up by two co-founders in Walthamstow, and they are starting really small, looking at what a cooperative model for early years education in their community in Walthamstow could look like, with the ideal intention being that they build a toolkit that helps other communities provide more affordable, flexible childcare. But that is an ambition that is very much down the line. For this incubation year, we're just figuring out, we figured out their theory of change, impact measurement, and testing that is proportional to stage and scale, so they can secure funding to ultimately achieve that vision. So yeah, absolutely, at this stage, completely fine to, in your application, share those ambitions, but you don't need to have anything concrete in place.
Right, thank you.
Great, thanks, Nick. Any other questions? I'll just check the chat if I missed anything there. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple of questions around the one-to-ones. Yep. So in the follow-up, I will drop my Calendly, and one-to-ones are open from now through till the end of the award. So do book in at a time that suits. You might be really keen to speak in the next couple of weeks before Christmas. So if you have some eligibility questions, great. We don't limit the number of one-to-ones, but obviously as we get into the application window, my Calendly gets really full. So if you have kind of eligibility questions, I'd urge you to get them in now, so that you can think about when's useful to have a more kind of focused on the idea and initiative question going forward. They will, in this instance, it will just be me at the moment, but the wider FEA team will field some of those one-to-ones depending on what the question is. So I mentioned Jess will be a fab resource for you to draw on. Not here today, but our Director of Innovation and Scale, C1, will be really keen to meet some award applicants, and then sometimes Gina, one of our co-CEOs, also a previous entrepreneur, also sometimes fields some one-to-one, so you'll get to meet a range of the FEA team. So I'll do just one last sweep if there's any other last burning questions, otherwise we will wrap up there. Okay, right, I think doesn't look like there's any other burning questions. So just to firstly say a massive thank you to Olivia for joining. She's a busy woman, so I very, very, very much appreciate her being able to come and give you a bit of flavour of what the award is like and what selection was like. This is not the only opportunity to meet Olivia and other award winners. They will hopefully be there at the booster, leading some sessions, shouting about the brilliant work that they're doing, but also as a great resource for you guys should you decide to apply. And I look forward to meeting you in one-to-ones. A huge thank you for you all coming today. Have a lovely rest of the week.
Lovely to meet you.